Now, another use case that's probably a lot more relevant to most of you is we all have to manage certain meetings. We have certain problems within our team, within our organization, and a lot of time, basically, the way to resolve it is starts with a meeting. So, what can design thinking help you do in order to prepare for this meeting? If you are if you are tasked with basically setting up a meeting in order to solve a specific problem. So we say we have a problem. Now we have a problem space and we have a solution space, and then we have whatever it is that we're going to deliver. I have a meeting. That means I'm constrained with time. Potentially, I could have a 2-hour meeting, right? Now, in a lot of meetings, what happens is you would find people who are more operational in nature and they need a solution fast. And what they're talking about is they're suggesting new solutions, whereas you have other people who might be more analytical in nature and they're trying to understand the problem a little bit more. And what's going to happen if you're more operational is you're going to get annoyed with people bringing up other stuff or people talking more about the problem because that doesn't look like a path towards a solution for you. And at the same time, if you're more analytical and most people are talking about the solution, you are going to be upset because you feel that you're not heard. You feel like we are rushing into decisions. We are trying to solve things that we do not understand. Now, a way to balance that, you can never fix human relationships or human connections 100% unless they are willing to partake in it. But at least one way to minimize the conflict is to make sure that we are in sync. And what does that mean? We set a time for discussing the problem. Supposing we have a 2-hour meeting, maybe we say the first 1 hour is just going to be spent on the problem space. Now, this gives license to people who are more analytical to talk a bit more about the problem. But it also gives some assurance to people who are more operational that we're not going to talk about the problems forever and we're never going to make decisions. No, there is a time where we're actually going to switch the conversation into solution. Now, the same thing happened once we move on to the solution space. Basically, even people who are analytical in mind are going to have to concede that even the best of idea is useless if it doesn't happen on time. So we need to kind of come up with a solution. We've taken the time that we've agreed to spend on investigating the problem. Now it's time to basically talk more solution space. This way, at least, they're more likely to concede. Once they are only talking about the problem, there's more likely to be some communication, not just people talking above each other. And at the same time, once you move into the solution space, people are not necessarily going to feel left out or they were not heard. They understand that there is some constraint in time. Now, this is not the only friction that could exist. Now, even in the problem space, you could have people who want to spend more time defining stuff, whereas you could have people who are interested in learning, getting new information, getting new perspective. So again, you might want to divide maybe your 1 hour into first half an hour. We're going to discuss new perspectives, new data, and potentially half an hour is not necessarily a good time for this. So this might even be something that you ask as preparation from every person. That means I'm calling a meeting next week or I'm calling a meeting tomorrow. Everybody who's interested in this, do your research, come up with as many problems, as much data or as much perspective as you can before coming into the meeting. This way, they've done as much discovery as we could. And the moment we start, we are starting with defining based on the information that we currently have. And then after that, you do the development and then you do the delivery. Now, I'm not saying you necessarily have to have all the 4 steps inside the meeting. You could potentially have that if you are able to define a specific value that can be the outcome of this meeting. Or it could be that the meeting is simply one of these aspects, as in we have a meeting for the define, we have a meeting for the develop. The key point here is that you want all the participants to be in sync. You do not want one stakeholder to come in with the mindset that we're trying to discover the problem, and another stakeholder coming in with the mindset that I'm going to deliver a solution, because that's where you get the biggest type of conflict. Make sure they are in sync, group it into one meeting, group it into multiple meetings, group it into solo work and group work, or break them into breakout room. There are many ways you can handle it, but make sure that all these four phases are happening. If the intention of the meeting is to solve a problem, then think creatively based on the context of your problem and of your company. What do we need to do in the problem space? How do we diverge in the problem space? Is is it just compiling data, usage data from people using our app or our tool? Is it maybe some customer surveys? Are we going to have to go talk to actual users? Is it something that we're just going to have to do internally? What does the problem space look like in your context, and what are the tools that you can use in order to diverge? When we say something like Gemba walk, who are you going to be shadowing? How are you going to be shadowing them? How much time are you going to spend? These are decisions that you can make, and you incorporate all of this into your meeting. As in, if the discovery part has already happened, make sure the people who are coming to the meeting are aware of the discovery that's already happened. They're aware of the data that's come out of this discovery, so that they can use it in the what's it called, define stage. Or maybe you're in a situation where even the problem is defined for you, so we're asking you to develop a solution for us. But even then, it's very useful to be aware: how was the problem discovered? What did we do to learn more about it? And how was it defined? Having that information allows you to come up with a more creative solution. So you want to set a meeting following design thinking principles. All you need to do is identify how and when all of these four steps are going to be happening, and all the time remind everyone that we're working towards something that's viable, desirable, feasible, and sustainable. So at any point, if somebody here in the process is not clear of what viability means to us, if it doesn't look like it's very well defined, then it's a conversation that maybe is worth having. If desirability is not something that's very well defined, then maybe that's a conversation that's worth having. And whatever definition we come up for all these four items, the feasibility, desirability, viability, and sustainability, we need to make sure that everybody is aware of it. And whenever they're making decisions within their daily work, they keep in mind that these decisions are working towards our company's definition of desirability, our company's definition of viability, feasibility, and sustainability. Or at the very least, we are all working on the same definition. We don't want to be competing against each other. So that's one way to use design thinking, is something that's an everyday uh, life situation, at least within a professional setting.